I remember a very particular moment when it dawned on me that the books that I read had all started out as ideas in somebody's head, and that the stories that I made up in my head could be put down in the same way and maybe eventually become books. And it felt like such a huge, momentous discovery that I felt like I actually needed to ask permission to do that. And so I went to my teacher and said, could I please just write a story? It was that revelation that the thoughts that I had in my head didn't have to stay in my head, that my imagination could be transferred onto paper and shared with other people and potentially even published in a book with covers. Most of the material that I write is not about disability because it's mostly about the other Muslim women who I've interviewed and the political situation that they find themselves in. So the Australian edition of my book was published in 2016. It's called From Victims to Suspects, Muslim Women Since 9/11. The book discusses the experience of Muslim women around the globe in the years since September 11, 2001. I find intersectional feminism very useful for understanding my experience of being both disabled and brown-skinned and Muslim during a phase of history where that's considered a very problematic identity. And that helps me not to feel too alone. Another factor with the multiple sclerosis diagnosis was I thought, this is the first bad thing that's ever happened to me that I have absolutely no desire to write about. But as time went on, of course, I did feel impelled to write about it, and I did find that writing about it was helpful and useful in that it helped me to connect with other people with disability. For example, the essay that I contributed to that Me Too book was very specifically about the experience of Me Too while being both disabled and belonging to a marginalised racial identity. I had thought that as I got older, I would be less vulnerable to harassment, but I think that having a visible vulnerability, it's actually been the opposite.